Welcome everybody to the vault. This is Jason, your host, and this is Hayden, our co-host. Um, little bit of background of the Vault podcast. The purpose, why we put this beauty together, what's to come, who we are, and why you should even listen or stick around. So me, I'm start us off first. Um, I'm a combat vet. Let's go from there. I used to be in the military. Was in the military for 6 years. And then my purpose, and I'll let you share yours here in a bit. My purpose, my goal for the podcast is to share a little bit of our mentality. Right, me and Hayden come from different backgrounds, two different mindsets. Um, but we achieve so much, within our age range. Um, and so here we are. I want to share some of that, some good stuff from our experiences, to young men. That is our primary target. We want to target the young men out there that feel lost, or don't have a sense of direction, purpose in their lives. Maybe in this podcast you'll be able to find something that really resonates with you, that really makes you want to be, more,
Yeah,
grow,
be
grow,
better.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
grow as a person. It's not gonna be perfect, guys. I'm gonna keep it a buck, but we're gonna do our best to deliver the best content we can for you guys, and and we'll go from there. Um, so yeah. Anyhow, uh, you want to share your individual
Yeah. So,
purpose here?
so unfortunately, fortunately, I wasn't a combat vet, but I am a vet. I was in the army for 5 years. I was a Black Hawk crew chief, so that was pretty cool. I got to fly in Black Hawks. Um, but I got out, and now I fly helicopters. But with all that came a lot of struggle, came a lot of pain, came a lot of everything like that. And I think that's where like we got our mentality is going through that struggle, going through those things like that. And to add to the purpose of the channel, right, is to spread that awareness. I don't think there's a lot of people out there that are actually talking to young men about like what a quality man is,
Yeah.
and to be able to kind of give some insight of what I think it is, and what I've learned from other people, um, and just kind of spread some information as much as possible. And I do want to, we were talking about this earlier, is like
Yeah.
this podcast is more towards younger men, and it's not that women can't take anything from this. It's just the fact that we're going to be sharing experiences that we went through, the struggles that we went through life, the pain, the trials, everything like that. And it's really hard to give advice to women if we weren't in a woman's shoes.
Right.
So it's not like we're excluding women, and we're not saying that women can't take this advice. But majority of the advice we're going to be giving is to men, or young men, because we've experienced it.
Right. The, the achievements we made as men. We don't know what it is from a woman's standpoint, and that's pretty much what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
But that's not to say if you're a woman and you're watching our podcast, you there's nothing here that we're not gonna say, or that we're going to say, that you may not be able to absorb. If you like it, if it works for your life, if you want to adopt it, by all means, like it's for you guys as well in that essence.
Exactly.
But when we say this is to target the young men, it's because we were young men, and what we accomplished was as young men and not as women. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Hayden. So let's jump straight into a little bit deeper into me, and then a little bit deeper into Hayden, and then we'll jump straight into our first topic that we want to share with you guys. So like I said before, I was in the military. I grew up in a divorced household. No need to feel bad for me. Middle class to below that family. I joined the military when I was 17. Recently got out in 2022 December. I did a deployment to Afghanistan. There's a lot of experience, a lot of struggles that went throughout that career. Taught me so much. I just can't wait to share with you guys. And now I'm a software engineer. I do nerdy stuff, but it's fun. It pays the bills, and I work from home. So yeah. Hayden, you wanna?
Yeah, so it's actually crazy. Same thing. Come from like a broken family, right?
Yeah.
Again, like don't feel bad. Like I think that goes into struggle. It goes into purpose. I think you're tested in your life
Yeah.
for a reason, and I think that's part of the reason why you got tested is because you wouldn't be where you're at today if you didn't go through those pains as a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up single parent with my dad. I have a sister, and I joined when I was 18, but I actually waited a little bit. It was, I think, I moved out of my house when I was 17. So I was still a junior, or I was like a junior going into senior year of high school. I moved out and I actually lived with a friend for a little bit. And then I kind of felt bad because I was a bad kid growing up a little bit. I've changed a lot now,
Yeah.
but I was kind of causing problems with them. So I actually ended up moving in with my girlfriend. That's my wife at the time now. And I lived with her for a little bit, and I just remember one day specifically. I was I was working at this hobby shop, like RC cars.
Yeah.
I was making $8 an hour, bro. $8 an hour, dog.
Well, shit.
And I just remember I didn't have a vehicle. Like my wife would drive me to work. She would drive me to school. Like, and at the time, bro, she's fucking 17, 18 years old too.
Yeah.
And she'd drive me to school. She'd drive me to work. And I just remember like right after graduation, she was doing the same thing, and she started going into a professional work field, and I was still doing the same thing. And I was like, I felt very embarrassed. I felt like like my life was better than that. Like I was not happy with the decisions that I was making too.
Yeah.
And I remember just one day I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to the Army recruiter.
Conversation.
Yeah, and when I got there, the guy was like, all right, when can you go to MEPS? And I was like, bro, the earliest day you'll send me. And he's like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. So we ended up going like the next day to MEPS.
Yeah.
I did everything, and then I think it took like a week for them to finish all the paperwork, and then yeah, I was gone. I left. And so I was in like that holdover where like you have to wait a certain period of time before you leave.
Oh, okay.
Because I was supposed to go in December, but then Christmas and everything like that, so it pushed back to January. So anyways, that's like one of the things is I was able to assess that I wasn't in a place that I was happy with. I chose the hard route because I knew that I knew at like fucking 18 years old, no matter how hard that choice was going to be, it would end up being better for my life.
Right.
So, I mean, bro, it's like the most grateful choice that I think I've ever made in my life is to be able to go the hard route.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100%. And guys, a little background. I'm glad you brought that up, right? A little background on how this came about. Like why is it me and Hayden sitting here at the table? Me and Hayden met in high school in 2012, right? 2013. And our like relationship level was pure like I know him, he knows me. I'll say hi, he'll say hi, we'll say what's up, and life continues. But here we are now, right? Life brought us back together. It's crazy because like I said, that's all we just knew of each other. We spoke to each other. Nothing deep. No real connection there. There's no love there.
Hey, no, low key though. It's really weird, and I never said this to you, but I'll say it on the podcast. Bro, I always felt like, because I like talking to people that have good character. Like, I've always felt like just the fact that you joined the military alone, and especially at a young age, like I already am like, I understood like how hard that decision was.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, I respect this guy a lot more, even though I wasn't even like that close with him.
Right.
And then every time we would kind of text, I was like, yo, I like his responses. I like what he has to say. I like that he hits me up and he says the same thing. Yeah. Like, I could just match your character. I was like, yo, he's a good guy. So like every time, like that's why I would stay like, if I hit you up or if you hit me up, I would always make sure that I would reply, or I'd make sure I'd send you a check-in because I knew that like you were good people. So
yeah, no, same here. I want to reciprocate that. At a certain point in my life, right, I became like very selective to the people that I let in my life, in my circle, quote unquote. And I was scared, bro. I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. I was scared because I was like, man, like, I don't know if Hayden's like a fucking retard or something,
Because I was back in the day. So I know he's valid to have that thought because back in the day it was bad.
And not to say like I don't want to be around retards. I just like I hold this quote dear and near, right? Like you're the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. And I like to say like deeply, I have probably less than 5 people that I can confide and trust and like let into my circle. I have multiple friends, but like within that circle, it's always best to keep it close. And like he said too, I'd always see your Instagram, like your stories and stuff that you were sharing. I'm like, man, I fuck with that. You know, like I'm on that same level of mentality, and I want to be around people like that too.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. You came down here, right? You came down here to Dallas, to the DFW area, to go to school, to flight school.
Yeah.
You know, like I ended up getting out of the military, and I picked DFW because I was jumping into tech, and this is one of the biggest tech hubs there is. You know, like Austin, DFW, and life brought us back together, and here we are. We made this dream come to reality. So here's, you know, cheers to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, we did not know each other like that, and here we are as just two young men, because we're still pretty young, sharing like-minded, you know, like sharing our stories, our experiences, very like-minded. You know, and like I told you before, you don't need to hear shit from me because I'm nobody, but I'm proud of you, bro. Like how far you've come, it's crazy to see it, and we'll pick more, and we'll dive deeper into why I'm so proud of this guy, right? Because of the shit that he has accomplished. But before that, we're gonna backtrack real quick before I forget why we chose the name of the vault. I know some of you guys might be laughing. Drop down in the comments if you think it's funny. But yeah, we chose the vault because in every vault, right, you only put confidential stuff in there. You only put, you know, like high value items in there. And what we believe, right, for this podcast is there's going to be a lot of high value stuff that you're going to take away, not just from us, right? Because in the future, we do plan to have special guests. We're going to have people that either have already reached their success level or are on their way to their idea of success.
We also want to bring in people we don't agree with, per se, like, you know, like not necessarily conflict, but it's also like, you know, maybe we can help someone.
Right.
You know, maybe someone can help us.
Yeah.
Because we don't agree with what they have to say or what their values of life are. Like we have completely different values of life.
Yeah, different views.
So like being able to take in that perspective as well. So
yeah,
I want to add that.
Exactly. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good ride. We're gonna have different people. And I feel like we're all gonna learn from everything. But yeah, that's why we chose the vault. That's why the vault is what it is today. It's gonna be a lot of high value shit that's gonna be coming out. And I hope that you guys absorb it all. But moving forward now, it's going straight into our first topic.
Now it's, you know, me and
Just
you, baby.
Okay.
And they just gonna be watching. It's like they went to a fucking movie theater just looking at it.
Okay. So here goes the first topic, bro. You ready?
Yeah. What's up?
Don't be scary now. First topic, bro, and I think this is a good topic, right? Why are struggles needed from your point of view? Why do you think struggles are needed? You know.
Well, you don't learn from. You learn from struggle, right? Like you learn from pain. You learn from all those things. You know, if you're never tested, how can you pass a test that you never tested for?
Yeah.
I think the harder the struggle, the better the reward you get. You know, it's kind of those things, and then you know, it's just preparing for life. I think a lot of people don't realize how much that you're actually preparing yourself for life when you're going through struggle. That's why, like, I love going to the gym because at the same time, it's like you can also pick your own struggle.
Right.
Like, and if you're going to the gym, you're running, you're doing something that's hard, like studying for school. You know, you have, you know, something like that. Like you're making your own struggle. So then, like, you're kind of like working into your own reward as well. Yeah. You know, but also you have to look at it too as like, I mean, if you look at somebody that came from, you know, like with a silver spoon, right?
Yeah.
They won't value anything in life because it's already been given to them, everything like that, you know. So
not all, but most, right?
Not yeah.
And I'm not trying to protect silver spoon people. I'm just saying, like, not.
Yeah, but I don't want to generalize. I don't want to generalize either. Yeah. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that do and don't have that belief either. But you know, just if you don't struggle, you don't succeed.
Right.
You know, you can't just automatically get something just because, you know, it's going to take work to get there.
But it's all perspective too, right? You know what I mean? I feel like it's all perspective. And what I mean by that is like I've been through a lot of shit, right? I've been through a lot of shit. I've had a lot of shitty stuff happen to me in my life. I'm sure in yours as well. But if it wasn't for my approach on the things that happened to me, the struggles that I went through, right? If it wasn't for my approach or the way I looked at it, or the way I decided to go about after, you know, like reacting to all that stuff, then I wouldn't be where I am today. Like the reward wouldn't be as delicious as it is today.
I completely agree. I think that the best thing you said is the perspective.
Right.
Because if you have two people that can literally be in the same exact situation, same exact scenario,
Yep.
right? One person has the mindset is they're gonna learn from the negative, so that way they can be better, and the other person is gonna be like, you know what, I'm blaming everything that's wrong in my life on this one specific aspect.
Yep.
And then they will always have that. It's almost like a victim mentality kind of thing. I mean, I don't want to say it's that, but at the end of the day, it's all about mentality, and like perspective is part of mentality. Like you should look at that struggle. You should look at what you're going through as a way to get you through the next part of your life.
Right.
You know, but if you're sitting there saying like, oh, I'm struggling, man, I don't want to go to work, man, I don't want to do this because I'm struggling because of this and that, you know, like you're never going to get anywhere with that.
Right. You're reinforcing that struggle. You're like constantly reminding yourself, no.
Yeah.
My life is fucked up.
Yeah.
Everything around me is fucked up.
If your life's fucked up, ask yourself why your life's fucked up. And you have to be truthful about why your life's fucked up. I think that's the hardest part about a lot of people is they don't really tell themselves the exact truth. I think there's a voice in your head that knows what you need to do. It tells you what you need to do. And if you don't act upon it, the more you suppress that voice, it gets harder to act upon it.
Yeah.
But it's like, literally the other day, I'm in bed. It's like, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm about to drive to Houston. And I mean, I don't have any set time that I have to be in Houston. I don't have any goal to get there. Like other than that, I gotta do a couple things in Houston, then I'm coming back. And I have two voices in my head. One was, I don't gotta get anywhere. I can sleep in. Like there's nothing's gonna come bad from it. But I have the other voice is like, why would you even say that? Like, get up. You have things you gotta do. Clean the house. Get all this stuff done. So that way, when you get back, it's gonna be a nice house. Blah, blah, blah. If you act upon that voice that is like telling you to progress and do the things that you don't want to do that you know you need to do, I think everybody has that. I don't like, this is my personal, because I have that. And it's like the more you act upon it, the louder that voice gets, the more it is easier to listen to it.
Yeah.
The more you suppress it, the more it kind of goes away. And you still kind of know that you're not making the right decision. And I think that's sorry, real quick.
No, you're good.
Sorry, you want to say something. I think that's the battle between good and evil.
Yeah. I like that. Let me ask you a question. I like what you said. You said, or actually, let me start like this. It's in us, right? You said that is in us. Like all of us have that in us, right? But you weren't always like that, right?
No, I think I always was. I always was. Yeah.
So because you've changed as a person, is what I'm saying. Like trying to get to.
Well, the difference is acting upon it.
Okay.
I think because there's certain experiences as a kid that I went through that I just like, I know it either happened to me or things that I did to others where it's like, should I have done this?
Right.
Was this the right thing to do? And I was actually telling this story to somebody. One day I basically like, to make it simple, I hurt somebody's feelings.
Yeah.
Right. And that was in like third grade, right? Like this is like little things, right? But this is how like strong the voice is. That was in third grade. By fifth grade, bro, I held so much like resentment for like, just hurting somebody's feelings that I went back and I was like, hey bro, like I'm sorry, like I apologize, like that's not who I am, like I'm truly sorry, like like those kind of things. And then what things would happen to me is like, I know like as a kid, like I just always had this thought, I was like, this isn't right. Like this shouldn't be happening. Like, like those kind of things. And I think, and maybe like me is like, that's like your spiritual or like religious like guy, like that's like your connection. Like I feel like that, like I said, like the good versus evil.
Right.
There's some people that act upon that and they feed off that, like that negativity. Like it feels good. Like it feels good to belittle someone. It feels good to do the bad things. It feels good to steal, like those kind of things. And if you act upon the good things, it feels better to feel the good than it feels the bad. The bad just like, dude, it like haunts you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you were already wired that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like you said, but you acted. It took until something, a scenario, a situation in your life to then act upon it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Because I feel like, not to cut you off, I feel like there's a lot of people that probably are not wired that way. You know what I mean? But can be. Right? Because our brains are like, I like to think that our brains are very programmable. Like we're like
for
computers,
sure,
like human computers. Like you may be born, I don't know, like a situation, an example, like you may be born in the hood or something, and like just because you were born from there, just because like the way of life that you had there does not mean that you can act. You cannot be wired like you or like me, and act upon it. And like completely change your life 360. like for
Yeah.
for like a better, I don't know, like a better outcome or
Well,
whatnot.
I think that starts, the hardest part about that is one, when you're raised, right? Because you're programmed to to think a certain way.
Right.
And then, like, I mean, we can talk about education system on another video, because I'd love to talk about education system. I think it's so messed up.
Yeah.
But I think whenever you're going through a certain experience in life, you are being programmed to think a certain way, and majority of your programming is coming from the adults that are around you, and the kids that are around you.
That's true. Yeah.
And I still believe that even if you're with full negativity and full people dragging you down, you would know, like, you just have this
Like intuition.
this
Telling you.
intuition that you know that it's not the right thing to do, but it's how much are you willing to question it, and how much are you willing to be that one that steps away from it.
Right.
Like, and I think it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. I think it's very hard to do, especially when that's the environment you grew up in, and that's the normal thing to do. And then people almost kind of like clown you because, oh wow, like, you're being nice to it, like, you know, you're saying yes ma'am, you're saying no ma'am, like, wow, you're being respectful, like, are you, like, who are you, like, what do you
See, I like that, because not to tee off too much, but I feel like all that is like encompasses self-awareness. To me, like, a real successful person, a lot of successful people that I've seen, like, have this crazy self-awareness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm aware I was born in the hood, or I'm aware that I come from a poor family, or I'm aware that I'm being retarded right now, or I'm making stupid decisions, but I'm going to change that. You know, like, I'm aware of that, and I'm gonna act like you said. I'm going to act upon it. I'm gonna do this differently. So I like that you bring that up. I don't know. To me, self awareness is so huge, bro. Like, part of where I'm at in life took like a whole bunch of self awareness. You know, like what is how does the saying go? Like, shoot, aim, you know, like, re-zero or whatever. I don't know. The saying goes like that, something like that. But because I feel like it was always with me too. Like, it's all intuition. Right? It's all intuition. You know what's right. You know what's wrong.
Yeah.
You still do it like that because
sure.
you're programmed a certain way.
But all right, guys. Live from the vault in the middle of the stream, dog. We're 4 minutes in, and we're already fucking up.
All right.
Sorry, so we got some bad news for you.
Yeah. You go ahead and break the news, bro. You go ahead.
All right, so y'all are about to see why we're talking about this. Is 24 minutes into the video, we didn't realize that the camera stopped working. So the rest of the video, which is about another hour to go, is not going to have any
video feed,
any picture. So we're learning. We're just talking about struggle. I don't know if we've talked about struggle yet in the video yet.
Yeah.
But we're learning about struggle. This is why if this didn't happen, we would have done it the next time. So we learn from our mistake. We're gonna learn. We're gonna grow, and this won't happen again. So,
but please stick around. Stick around. Listen to the rest of the video. Plug in your headphones. Put it on the speaker. Get in the car and drive for an hour or something. I don't know.
Honestly, I feel like whenever I watch podcasts, anyways, like I watch a lot of podcasts. I'm literally like in the car. I'm not even watching the video. So maybe y'all aren't even watching the screen. So if not, if y'all are, just continue to watch. You know, we still hit all the topics. We still hit great points. We hope that, you know, you enjoy it.
All right.
And to make it very quick is not to make this about like a religious or a spiritual belief, but I think that's really a battle between good and evil.
Yeah.
Like how embarrassed are you really gonna push yourself to, like, how embarrassed are you willing to be good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So I don't know. It's just like, you know, how it's not about how connected to God you are, and I'm not sitting here preaching, and I'm not even saying I'm like, you know, based or whatever, but
Are you religious?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I would say I'm religious, but I think I'm like searching. Like, you know, I really want to do my research on all religions.
Yeah.
I don't think I've found one specific one that I've actually like done all my research into to completely like oh, this is the one. You know what I mean? But I definitely believe in a higher power. Like there has to be. And I think like being thankful and being grateful for everything you had, and that's going back to struggle. Like, bro, I am thankful for my struggle. Like I am grateful for it. Like I always knew, even I'm fucking hitting the desk, it's gonna be all loud and shit. Sorry guys. But I'm thankful for it, because if I didn't have it, I wouldn't have the mentality that I have today. Mm-hmm. Like if I didn't go, I wouldn't have learned what not to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think it's very I'm very appreciative of that, and I think that's like the higher power. I think like I believe in God that
Yeah.
God put me through those struggles, and I also think you're challenged by Satan too.
Yeah. That's
Like,
true.
and that's where which route are you willing to take?
Yeah.
And it's always more comfortable to take the bad route.
Yeah.
The bad route's more fun. Like, are you kidding me?
It's easy. It's easier. It's more
I
fun.
get to go steal a car.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather go steal a car than go work 40 years to go buy the car I want. Like, those kind of things. But is that the right message? Is that is that the society you want? Do you want to raise your kids in that?
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of thing. But anyways, so I don't want to get off.
No. This is my second follow-up question. Were you always religious? Like leading up to how old you are today?
So that's a really good question, because I'm gonna tell you something. And I think I've only told my wife. I've maybe told like one or two other people, but the only person I truly believe that I've told that I can remember is my wife. And I do think I've always had this like connection with God.
Yeah.
Like I've always just that feeling of like what's good and right, like
Right.
what's good and what's wrong. I feel like I've always had that. But there's been very specific moments in my life that has proven to me that there's a God. There's a higher power.
Right.
There's something there.
Mm-hmm.
And a quick story was when I was, I don't know, maybe like 16, 17, like right around that time I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was going to a movie with my friend, and we got in a car accident. And my buddy ran a red light going 60 miles an hour, hit 2 cars head on, totaled 3 cars. I was in the passenger seat without a seatbelt on. And I flew in the back, and like all I remember is like, so we're driving. I'm like telling my buddy like slow down because he's about to run this red light, and I can kind of see it coming, and he just like blacks out. Like he blacked out, and he's just going, hey, bro, we're like 16, 17, like he just got nervous of driving. Like it wasn't like we were drinking, like we weren't smoking weed, like I didn't even do any of that when I was a kid, and he just ran the red light 60, so it's like a two-way, so like there's cars going this way and there's cars going this way, and once we passed the first lane going this way, I was like, we're good. And then
crossed over.
The cars that were coming this way, I saw a little white speck in my eye, and I knew it was a car, and immediately I went over, I hugged the center console, and that car hit, and then another car hit, and we like started like rolling like a bunch of stuff, and I was in the back seat, and I just balled up. And like I remember like telling myself like, please don't die, please don't die, please don't die, and all I could hear is like the car going
like plastic and all that shit, yeah.
Like that, Bro, I didn't get injured, didn't get anything. I got like a scratch, literally like that's it. And this is where like my connection with God, like I don't think this is where it starts. I think this is where it was like very clear.
Yeah.
The night before that, like that night that led into that morning, I had nobody was home. My dad wasn't home. My sister wasn't home. It was just me in my house.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily a dream. It was like somebody called my name. And when I tell you it was like the most like clear, most like I can't even explain the voice to you, but I just remember someone saying Hayden. But it was like this like really crazy, like I've never heard this voice before.
Yeah. And
it didn't sound it sounded like a perfect voice. I think it's to summarize it, it's like this perfection of a voice.
Yeah.
And I just remember waking up, and I was like, I wasn't scared. I was like at ease. I was like, dude, it was comfortable. Like it felt good.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it was weird.
I called like my sister, I called my dad, like just yelling at him.
Mm-hmm.
No one was there. Like I got up and I like walked around. I was like, all right, that's weird. I went to bed, and then that happened, right?
Yeah.
So that was like my first experience where I was like what was that? And it took me the car accident to kind of like put that together. Like that's what I thought. Like that's my idea of what like my first connection with him.
Yeah.
Really, like there's some other things that I could tell you about my childhood, but we can get into that later. But then I would say the second biggest time was when I was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end of I was in for 4.5, 5 years, like right around there. And it was a love-hate relationship with the military. And I was in the stage where I was becoming a leader.
Yeah.
but my leadership was so toxic that it was like painful to be in. I just didn't. I loved my job, but I hated the people I was around, like that kind of thing. Except for my boys, like you got your boys, like you know. But then, so all these things happened, and I finally got to like the probably the best point of my career, which was I got I got like a 3-day notice to go to the board. I passed the board, which I mean I feel like everyone gets that at this point now. And then I went to this aviation special operations school, like whatever. I passed it, but in the holding period, I got injured, and that's when I like broke my wrist and I snapped my collarbone.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about that was the year before that, bro, I kept asking so much, like, please get injured, like, find a way to get out, Like, I hated it so much.
Yeah.
I just kept asking for it. I kept asking for an excuse. I kept asking for a reason.
Yeah.
And bro, like the more you, and I'm so like certain that the more you ask for something, the more you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
And like that was because I wanted change. Like I wasn't happy with where I was at. Like I mentally wasn't in the right place. Physically, I was super skinny. Like whatever. I didn't like my job, like anything like that. Like I liked the people I was around, and I liked certain parts about my job. But in the long term, I mean, like what we average being gone like 8 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And like it was hard on my relationship, like all those things, and I was just like, dude, this is not it. And then that happened.
Yeah.
And that was my point where I was like, I can either be a victim, sit here complain, not move, not do anything. I can rely off the government, all these little things, or I can make that change that I was asking for.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, I'm gonna choose the hard route again. Like, and that's the thing that I love is like, I want to choose the hard route every fucking time.
That's crazy. Because I remember like when you were that skinny. Because I mean, I had you on Instagram, social media for a long time. Yeah. So I remember seeing you like, oh yeah, like just hating. This is another person like from high school, just keeping up with through social media. And then like I remember, I think you dropped like your first video, and it was like, I think it was a reel, right? It was like like you skinny, and then you like getting a little bit swole, and I was like, oh shit, okay, like he's getting kind of big. So that's crazy, bro. And this is one of those times where, and it's completely opposite situation, because usually people ask for good things to get out of bad situations, but you're asking for a bad thing to get out of like probably a good situation to what other people think, but really it was a bad. You just wanted more. You weren't comfortable in the situation that you were in.
And that goes back to struggle.
Yeah.
Like I now look at it like I shouldn't have asked for that. Like I don't want to ask for that again. Like I'm not asking for that no more.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have learned to not ask for that.
Right.
Because I struggled through that. Like that was the worst point of my life. Like right there. But I wouldn't have learned if I didn't go through that struggle.
Yeah. That was definitely a lesson, bro. That's definitely a lesson.
Bro, big lessons. Yeah. And I think that's where I believe in God. Like it's you go through that struggle because you're gonna learn, was that too hard of a struggle? So he's gonna back off on the next test.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or, all right, you proved him right. You proved yourself right. Like so, grow. Like like those things. So yeah, that was that was rough.
Man, that's crazy. See, I don't know. Like, so I'm Mexican, right? I mean, my background, my parents are Mexican, and so when you're like born into a Mexican, most of the time born into a Mexican, like in a household, like as far as religion goes, you're either gonna be Catholic or Christian, and maybe you have like other people, like those random that maybe might be like Muslim or something else that they end up adopting something else, but like 99% of the time you're gonna be Christian or Catholic. So I was like born or raised into a Catholic. My mom was Catholic, like big time Catholic. My grandma was big time Catholic, and it's like as I was growing up, it was just like a thing. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Catholic. Like oh I got the rosary, it's like I'm Catholic, but I didn't even know what it meant to be honest. Like I'm Catholic. Oh, what do you believe? I believe in God. You believe in God? Yeah. What's your religion? I'm Catholic. You know what I mean? I don't know like the meaning behind it. And the more I grew, I was like, my mom would push it on all of us. She'd always be like, oh, pray, my sisters, my brothers. But I feel like I was the only one that kind of like saw it a little deeper than what it was. I was like, no, I want to know what this is. Like, what is this religion? You know what I mean? And like, bro, I've done so much, like from then till today. I've done so much research, like multiple, like, because you can go on and on with religion, and I don't want to do that, but from me, there's a point where I'm like, man, like, did we create religion, or religion is for us, you know, like the man create religion,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like for some kind of control. And you know, you have those people that would say that, like, yeah, we create religion, it's a government thing, so they can control certain people. But truthfully, despite, like, if there was somebody that created religion, despite you know, like, there being like 10 different religions, I think, and this is me, right? This is my perspective. I think following some set of guidelines is better than none at all.
Yeah,
You know,
I was,
and
yeah, completely agree.
and I rather die. I think I forgot who it was that said it, and I heard this and, like, it really resonated with me. But I was like, I rather die and believe in God, a God, in religion, right? I believe, than to die and not believe, and there is a God, and they're like, hey, well, you're going to hell because you didn't believe in me.
Yeah.
Like, dude, stop. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I think too, like the message behind God too
yeah,
is like God writes like kind of sets your moral guidance of what's right and what's wrong, and I
Right.
think that, like, to associate it with the channel is, like, I think young men need God. Or, you know, and again, like, I'm not trying to preach, I'm not trying to tell you what religion defined or anything like that, but it's like, if you don't have any basis of what's good and what's bad, you're always going to choose the bad because, like, again, the bad's more fun, right? What was the quote I sent you? Is like, undisciplined boys create undisciplined men.
Yeah.
Undisciplined men, go to jail or end up dead.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have some type of guidance that is telling you to do the good thing and fight that evil battle,
Right.
like, that's like, that's kind of like my purpose of, like, why I believe in God, why I want to follow God, you know, and I want younger boys, like, I feel like, you know, we don't even talk about that anymore in
Right.
schools. Like, we've gone so far away from religion, all those things like that, you know.
Like, it's a good I don't know, like first rule or first, like, something for young men to adopt, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, some
for
religion.
sure.
Don't have to be a religion. You know, like, or,
Because if you're not scared of doing something when someone's not watching you, then you're gonna end up getting to the point where you're not scared to do something when someone is watching you.
yeah.
So, like, you know, you could think that it's cool to go steal a pair of shoes in the locker room, and now you're getting to the point to where you're breaking into houses.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing these things, and like, what does that bring? How? And the thing is it's that excitement that they like,
Yeah.
but it's like, you also got to understand, and this is probably one of the things that, you know, we could talk about later too, is consequences.
Yeah.
Like, there are consequences for these things. Like, you know what I mean? And the more bad you do, the more bad is coming your way.
Yep.
So, like, that's just kind of what I wanted to get to the point for the audience, for the
Yeah.
the message. It's like, the reason why we're talking about God and the reason why we want you to believe in him is because it's like, or, you know, like, have some type of connection with him.
Right.
Is because if you don't have a connection to him, then you're gonna have a connection with something. I just believe that there's something there. You can't be, you know, one of my favorite things was, like, some guy was talking about, there's no such thing as an atheist.
Right.
An atheist ends up worshiping something, right? Like, you have to believe in something, right? And it's not like you just go about life and it's just, you're just living. Like, no,
Right.
like, I mean, it could be as simple as, you know, you're worshiping a car, you're worshiping a house, you're worshiping, like, you know, something stupid like that. But I don't want to get too political.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
I
the
got
thing.
you,
Like,
I got you, yeah.
for everybody who listening, if that sounds like a stupid point, it's because I don't want to get too political yet. We'll get to that point later. But I definitely don't. There's good, there's bad, and, you know, there's a higher power for sure. And it's, if you don't believe in that, you're not going to be scared to do the wrong thing.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good way of looking at it. And see, like, and one thing I want to share, right, with those that are younger men or men our age, or probably even older men than us, right? I don't necessarily preach, but I always say, like, religion shouldn't be, and this is not to deep dive into religion, right? We'll get to that at a later point, but it should not have a set of standards, right, for you to have a relationship with God. That's for me. That's the way I look at it, and that's the way I live by it, right? And I love the way my mom raised me and my siblings in that aspect, because she would always say, like, I mean, it's like, I guess where we grew up from, she was kind of like a last resort, right? Her advice in religion was like her last resort. She was like, you know what, like, I don't care how you approach your religion or what you do, just have a relationship with God. You know, pray from time to time. Appreciate, like, learn to speak to God on your own terms. You know, like, just have a relationship with God. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that, and I've always stuck with that. You know, like I'm not a perfect Catholic, and I'll never be. No one will ever be a perfect Muslim. You know, like Hindu, whatever our religion. I truly believe nobody will ever be a perfect. You know, like that in religion.
Yeah.
I won't either. But
Well, the only thing that you can be perfect, or the only thing that's perfect in this world is God, right? So
it's
it's
true.
like
Yeah.
He
And
knows that you're gonna fuck up. He
yeah,
knows that you're gonna say. I mean, just me cussing right there alone, right? Depending on how deep you are into your religion,
yeah,
that's a sin. Like that's
yeah,
bad, dude,
yeah,
right? But nobody's perfect, and just
yeah. And see, and for me, that stems from trying different religions. You know what I mean? I have tried different religions, and some of them are scary to me. I'm not gonna mention what. I don't want to like downgrade any religion. You know, I respect any religion that anybody picks. You know what I mean? Or
yeah, for sure.
religion. But there's has been some religions that I've tried, like 3 different ones, to where certain pastors and maybe it comes down to like where you're going. Do you like to like learn, right? Uh but it was always like, oh, do this or you'll die tomorrow. You know, like do this,
Yeah,
or there's a meteor hitting the Earth, and if you don't pray X amount of times a day, you're gonna die. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, for
and
sure.
growing up and like trying different religions and going through that, I'm like, damn, I'm not trying to fucking die. You know, like,
Yeah, yeah, that's rough.
I want to see what I'm gonna look like when I'm
Yeah,
25.
I
And
think that
so,
goes into mentality though.
yeah,
Like that goes into mentality too. Like on the aspect of like how like what kind of life are you willing to live in your own head?
yeah,
Is like, are you willing to sit there and be like, this is what's about to come, this is what's about to come, and then you're sitting there and like living this like anxious lifestyle, like this, like, I think it's all about control of your own mind.
yeah,
Like what I'm meaning by with religion is like, I think we all have our own connection with God or like the higher power.
yeah,
I think we all have a different connection. We all have a different idea of like who he is and where he comes from, and I think there's a very general guidance that's made for millions and billions of people, and that's why it's like that. But I think
yeah,
everybody has different morals, different things that they believe is right and wrong, like those kind of things. Like
yeah,
so I also like that's where it's like religion is just because you're this religion doesn't mean you can't disagree with something that they're saying
right,
about it.
yeah. I agree. No, and all in all, I guess what me and you were saying, uh, right, is a set of guidelines is better than none,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because and just like you said too, if you believe in God, like at least for me too, if you believe in God, you believe in the devil. Believe in the devil. Even Satanists who say they don't believe in God, no, you believe in God. If you believe in Satan, then you believe in God.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's back good and evil, just like you said earlier.
for sure.
So yeah, I think that's like that's one. That's basics. That's basics of a successful young man to be, or even someone in life that's already a little older and has not even instilled anything like that in their lives. You know, like pick up a religion,
Yeah.
find yourself a set of guidelines in your life, and then go from there.
And I'll tell you last thing on this, or like we'll keep it short. I think the reason why is because you can't go through life just thinking that you got lucky. Like this
Yeah,
just happened. Like this just happened to me. Like
that's
I
true.
just worked this hard. Like no, you were given this ability to work like that. Like it's you were given the struggle to learn from it.
Hmm.
You were given the strength to grow from it. Like all these things. And I don't believe in anything just happens just because. I think everything happens for a reason.
Right.
Like there's it's almost like a destiny, but I also believe that there's unlimited amount of routes that you can take to get to the final result of where you're supposed to be at in life. And God knows every single one of them, and it's which route was the easiest one and which route was the hardest one and which route did he expect you to take and which route did you really take?
Facts.
So it's like
I want to poke you on that though. I believe that too, but I believe anything you cannot control happened for a reason. Anything you can't control did not happen for a reason. I think a lot of people forget. You know what I mean? Like life decisions, right? Some shit would happen, and
you
it's
know
like,
why? That's free will, right? Like just because. So, oh man, I don't want to dive too much into what I believe in religion, but I think there's destiny, and that's what I was saying. Like there's routes that you take,
right.
and there would technically only be one route
Mm-hmm.
if there was not free will. But you have the free will to choose the
Whichever.
route to go rob someone, to the route to go donate money.
Yeah.
You have the free will to make the right or the wrong decision. So that's like where it's like, at the end of the day, he still knows the final result of where you're going to be at.
Right.
And it's which route did you take to get there?
But then those things did not just happen for a reason. You know what I mean? Like they happen because of the things that the routes you took.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly,
saying?
exactly.
You know, like
Yeah.
and, like, but there's some things in life uncontrollable. You know, like maybe some passings or I don't know, like you get struck by lightning tomorrow. You can't control that. You know, maybe I mean unless you're wearing like a metal suit and you're like walking out there,
But-
like, hit me. You know, like I think I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think that was a purpose.
You
I
so?
think God takes people when they're ready to be taken.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like-
I'm saying like yeah, like that stuff happens for a reason.
There's a reason why somebody got in the car, drove down the road, and there was somebody walking across the street, and this person was on their phone. Like, you got to look at it from like, look at how much it took to get to that point.
Yeah,
They both had to leave at the perfect time for them to meet up.
yeah,
They both had to do the perfect scenario of being in the perfect place for it to happen. Now, it's unfortunate.
yeah.
I'm not saying that it's a justified reason why like it happened, and it's very painful, but I think at the end of the day it's like I still believe that there was a bigger purpose because I think look at the people that are affected and look what they learned from it.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a lesson too. Which
But that's in control. That's in control, right? Like that. Like there was nobody could control that timeline. Like at least I think you know what I mean. Like that was like, hey, this is what's happening the way it's happening, and like life is just flowing.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then boom, like anything happens.
Yeah.
And this goes for like any scenario. And
But that's where that's where I believe like all right, I'll say a little bit. I believe that like your soul, right? You're in heaven or you're in whatever spiritual place that you believe that you're in, and it's almost like you write a contract of like. So the idea that I believe in is like your soul is constantly like you're it's just your energy. Your energy is always here on earth or like wherever like heaven is or whatever you're viewing this place is.
Yeah.
And you're always learning, and so whenever you pass away, you go back, you kind of reflect on your life, you talk with God, you say what you could have done better, what you should have done, how you should have done it, like those kind of things.
Yeah.
And then whenever you're ready, you go back into earth, and like you're tested based off of what you wanted to be tested on. It's really weird. It's very spiritual.
Yeah.
Like
No, I mean.
And I want to talk to you more about it later because like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm still like starting to like learn more into this.
Yeah.
And we'll talk later about why I'm going into this.
Yeah.
But I definitely believe that there's a purpose for everything that we do.
I agree. I agree 100%. Yeah. Everything is purposeful. Everything.
Yeah.
There's a reason for everything.
Yeah.
What I meant is more like.
Was the purpose of somebody accidentally passing away, like that kind of thing?
No, like, yeah, like yeah, that happens. That happened for a reason, it happened for there's a purpose behind that. But what I mean when I say some things don't happen for a reason is like because what was gonna happen, like if you have a friend and he like sells drugs and then he gets caught and then he goes to jail for like 10 years and then he's like, man, like, and one of his family members maybe says like, oh, it happened for a reason, or things happen for a reason. You know what I mean? But it's like, no, it happened because he was selling drugs.
But that's a reason, because that's consequences.
True.
The reason why he's in jail is because he has consequences for his actions. Like, he didn't just go to jail because.
But it was a controllable factor. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, I guess that's what I mean. I'm confusing us a little bit. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like some of those things that happen for a reason, like they have controllable factors. There are some things that really do not have any control. Like it was like you had no idea. You know what I mean? Like if you.
Well, I think that's the difference between your free will and God.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have the controllable factor, and then the uncontrollable factor is more like God's actions. You can't control it. Yeah. You can't control those actions. You can control your own actions.
Okay. Yeah. See, I agree with that. That's what I'm trying to convey.
All right. Cool.
I'm just not saying it right. But yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Because I like to look at it like, and I'm gonna open up a little bit about my brother. You know what I mean? So Junior, if you see this, don't bitch. But like this is not to tee off either. But like my brother's been through like a lot of shit. Like he he's always been my older brother, you know, and I love him to death. But he never had the opportunity to be a big brother to me, you know. Like there's been times where he has, but the way I wish he would have or could have, he never could have. Because honestly, and I've thought about this by myself like a lot of times. I'm like, did he do all this? Did he bring this up like to himself? You know what I mean? Like all the shitty shit that happened to him in his life is because of the things he chose to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I think a lot, like retrospectively, I'm like, nah, like he legit like just had some shitty cards dealt. You know what I mean? And he kind of rolled with it, and there was like a. But I will say this, right? Because I know you're gonna say like everything's perspective.
Yeah,
right? Everything's
sure.
perspective, and it's like the person who was influencing him, which is my father, right? Kind of programmed him a certain way, like killed his will, you know, like his opportunity to think for himself. Like he programmed him, and I believe this is real, you know, especially if you have, see, like I'm leaning it. If you have somebody that you look up to and they tell you you're a certain way, one or two things is gonna happen. You're gonna believe that, or you're not. You're gonna be like, no, fuck that. Like I'm gonna show you I'm not. I'm gonna show you I'm better than what you think I am. You know what I mean? I feel like for my brother, he was programmed in such a way by my father that like, cause he was the first kid, you know, like that he legit thought like, nah, I'm just like this fat bitch piece of shit. Like, I'm good for nothing, you know, like I suck. You know, I feel like because I didn't come out like that, you know, I didn't. The shit that happened to him didn't happen to me, but we were raised by the same father. You know what I mean? But some things were like, man, like there's just so many situations where like he as a young person could not control. Yeah. I don't know, like if it's making any sense.
It makes 100% sense, and this is the hardest thing, and this kind of goes good with the audience because it's like, first off, look at how many poor people have become rich.
Yeah,
I think like it's the hardest part is delivering the message without being disrespectful or without hurting someone's feelings, without like sounding like you're careless or like, you know, whatever the right word would be. But I think that everybody, it's like, again, struggle. It's struggle. And how many times do you have to be put in that scenario to realize that's not the scenario you want to be in?
Right.
You know, and if you're not asking yourself these questions of why is this not normal,
right?
You know, why if you and that's the thing is like if you think it's normal, then that's going to be your life.
Yeah.
Like you have to realize that that's not normal. When you know the difference between here's two different types of people. When they see a Lamborghini, they're like, oh man, I want that Lamborghini, and then they see somebody says, man, I want that Lamborghini. How can I get that Lamborghini?
Yeah.
You know, like it's how much are you willing to get yourself out of that position, and the hardest part is that whenever you're in that such low of a place, it's so much harder to get out.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is you will be so much more grateful than somebody that wasn't in that position that has what you want to have. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. I understand it, and especially being a kid, coming from a kid, like you don't have the choice. You don't have the option to do that.
Right.
But at some point, you turn 18. At some point,
you're an adult. You stop making excuses for yourself.
Even if it's going to flip burgers, bro. Yeah. Like suck up your pride. Mm-hmm. You know, go save your money. Don't go get a job to go buy the J's that you never had. Like if you really wanted that life where you can go out and you can, you know, live a better life,
right.
You're gonna save your money.
Yeah.
You're gonna build up. You know, possibly go to school regardless of the right route or not, or you're going to go to the military regardless of the right route or not. Like you're going to learn from the things, and you have to make those hard decisions to make yourself better,
right?
Which is working or learning.
Right.
Like that's really the two things that you have to work or learn. And if you can't do either one of them, then you're going to stay in the same spot.
Right.
And then it's like, so then that's where it comes into like, are you going to work to do the wrong thing? So like, you know, if you start selling, not saying he did this or anything like that, but like you start selling drugs, you start robbing people, you start breaking the law to make money, like you're going to stay in that environment. Just because you had more money doesn't mean the consequences aren't going to fucking catch up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's really hard because I also don't say that like you need to suck up to the government. It's not about working with the government or doing anything like that. Screw the government. It's not about it's not about them. It's about yourself.
Right.
It's about doing what makes you happy. You know, and it goes back to being self-aware. Like, how self-aware are you to realize that this is not the person you want to be?
Right.
Some people can't even realize that. Like, I'm gonna say this for most men is that have a bad relationship with their fathers. Like, you don't want to be your father.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't even ask yourself, why am I being like my father? You're gonna grow up to be like your father.
Right.
Bro, like, I think that's like one of the biggest things that anybody that I've been around that I do not like, and I start to have, because you start to hang out with a lot of people, and you start to like carry their traits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would catch myself like carrying these person's traits, and I'm like, dude, I do not like this. Like, why do I like this?
Yep.
And I'm like, it's because of this person. It's because I've been seeing him do this, so now I'm reacting upon it.
Right.
If you allow that influence to stay in your life and not even question yourself that that's wrong or that that's not what you like, you have to be able to even question yourself first.
Right. Be self-aware.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm doing this.
And you might not even be able to find the answer yet.
Yeah.
But as long as you're asking yourself, you're searching for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the goal, is to search for the answer of why something's wrong in your life.
Mm-hmm. And see, like, to go back to your point before, right? It does take like a certain something, right, to hit you, or like to finally get you to be like, oh shit, I need to change this.
Mm-hmm.
I need to change this. And I think that's what happened to him, right? And this is not to like throw all his stuff out there, but like, right up to when he hit 18, at least I like to think, when I think retrospectively about his situation, is like, yeah, at one point he did become an adult,
Mm-hmm.
and he could have chose to do whatever he wanted to do, but after that he did do some dumb shit. He ended up being with like a woman.
I don't know if we get too personal.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, I don't want to drop too much, but I'm only sharing his story because maybe there's somebody out there too, that like possibly had some shitty hands dealt.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
From a young kid to 18, and he has not yet been checked by himself. Like, don't wait to get checked by somebody. Check yourself, and then like realign, shoot, and then fucking go from there.
And that's a good point that you made about being dealt bad hands.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're not talking about ourselves right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that like for the audience that's like listening right now, it's like we did not come from this amazing, beautiful household, this like anything like that. We built everything that we got, and it's like we understand the struggles that it's taking to get to where you want to be. We understand how hard it is. We understand the nights where you're crying in bed, like as a young boy, because like this isn't right. Like whatever's going on in your life, like this shouldn't be happening.
Right.
Like that pain and like. Dude, when something happens and like you kind of imagine, just to put this in perspective to like get people to understand like where we've been at in our life, is like when you're at home as a little kid and you kind of like you're about to get in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
and you're kind of running the scenario in your head of how bad it's about to be.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, every single time you run through that scenario, it just gets worse.
Right.
It gets worse every single time, and that like uncomfortable feeling of like almost like afraid of being home, like almost afraid of not being able to do anything that you want because you're gonna get in trouble. Like and it's not just the fact that like I had a very disciplinary dad.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like, bro, I don't know if you ever had this like we used to have bologna and mustard sandwiches. Like, bro, that's like what I ate. Like literally a piece of bologna and you put mustard in like a sandwich. Like that's my lunch. Like like I'm talking like I understand the struggle of not having food.
Yeah.
I understand the struggle of like not having AC, not having like lights on, like not having any of that, like house being foreclosed on. Like I completely understand that struggle. And that's why I'm so much harder on a lot of people that are going through that, because I'm like, you should have the drive to understand that that's not right. That's not what's happening. You should be able to live in your car and be like, bro, this is like when I was fucking 8 years old.
Yeah.
Like that's not an issue. Mm-hmm. Like I am happy to take a cold shower. I wish the water was cold. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like you got water. It could be worse.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's hard because I believe there's no excuses. The only excuse is the one you're telling yourself.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to try to tell somebody that if they can't even ask themselves their own questions.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I like that you brought that up, because when you grow from such experiences, right? Like you said yourself, you kind of hold the people to that same standard. Like this happened to me. I've had it worse, and you're bitching about like your left sock is different than your right sock. That shit doesn't make sense to me. So I had to learn, like, especially with my wife, because she was obviously born or raised like way different than me. Like I always fuck around with her, and I'm like, don't tell me shit, because even till this day I have not had my own room. Because like when I was little, I shared a room when I got in the military, I shared a room with your roommates in the barracks. I got married, we shared the room. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I always fuck around. I'm like, I still have not got my own room, but and you know,
moving out.
Yeah, I'm like moving out. But you know, you need to. What was I saying? I see I'm getting sidetracked here.
It's cool.
You need to.
She was raised differently. Like,
yeah, she was raised differently, so she taught me to be a little more empathetic with people like that. You know, like to be a little more human. I guess a little more human. I don't have to be like, and I don't want to. I don't have to, right? But I chose to. I don't want to. I don't want to be like a dick and be like, oh, you fucking pussy, you know, like, because that was me, like, you know, that was me, prime, like, military too. I was like, bro, stop fucking complaining, you know, like, go run, you know, like, as a private, I did this, I was asked to do this. You join the military, it's not to tee off, jump in the military, right? But you join the military, and what did you expect?
For sure.
Like, lighter, you know what I mean? Like, just do what you gotta do.
I hated that. Yeah, we'll get into that later, but I agree completely.
You know, like, I mean, I'm gonna just finish the point now. So, like for me, for instance, right? I like to say and think that I had like a stellar like military career, and the amount of time that I had it, like, is 5 years. I always say 6 years, right? Around whatever. 5 years is 5 years and 8 months. 5 years, 10 months, something like that. 5 years, 10 months, right? But within 5 years, I became a staff sergeant. Bro. And a staff sergeant at 22 years old or 21 years old, right? It's not seen all the time.
That's wild.
When I was in E5, I was 20. You know, so you don't. I was a sergeant. I couldn't even drink. You know, and a lot of people are, oh, you got lucky. You got blessed. Oh, like a lot of people in the military say, oh, you're using your knee pads, right?
Yeah.
That shit pisses me off. I was like, no, bro. Like, I fucking did what I was told, right? And sometimes I went that extra mile, not because I was using my knee pads, but because that's the type of person that I am. I like to do shit right. You know, I don't like to go back and waste time because I didn't do shit right the first time. I like to do something, and then somebody's like, who did this, right? And like, oh, Jason did it. That's a good fucking job. You know what I mean? Like, I take pride in the shit I do. But anyways, yeah, I don't want to tee you off. It's just like, I've learned to be a little more empathetic, right? Because like people like you and myself, right, that came from certain experiences, just don't have the same amount of sympathy or like empathy for people that have not had it as worse, or are having it the same way, right? But are complaining about it because, bro, like you and me are living proof. Like, you can get out of that situation, right? It just all it takes is be self-aware, like you're saying.
And I want to like interrupt you real quick.
Oh, good, yeah.
Because this is like and this is like a point I want to make to the audience.
Yeah.
Like, our message of being a man is like, get out of your feelings.
Yeah.
Like, bro, and this is what I want to talk to, like, really, like, you know, I don't want to go really under 16 years old because I think you're still like kind of like learning with your parents and like those kind of things. Like, I don't want to necessarily try to be somebody's parent. I want to be somebody's life coach that's been through what you're going through and understanding that you want to change, or maybe you don't even know that you want to change, but I don't think it's not okay to cry.
Right.
Like, I think this society is taught them, oh, cry, get in your feelings, do all these things. It's okay to cry in certain scenarios that, like, yes, are detrimental to yourself and to your mindset. Like crying is not necessarily that it's bad, but you're crying because you have to do push-ups. You're crying because your dad asked you to go mow the lawn. Like, you're crying to do all these things. Like, what are you going to do when you have a wife and you have kids and they're asking you to go do these things and you want your wife to do that for you? Or who are you expecting to do these things for you? And if you can't do them now and you can't even learn, like, I want to challenge, like, one of the kids to somebody out there, like, go change a light bulb.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't do anything around your house, all you do is play video games and do nothing like that, like, go change a light bulb and see what it takes to work. Like, go actually do something that will bring you some type of knowledge for a future self that you're going to be. Like, like, the whole message is that, like, life is hard.
Yeah. Like,
it's not going to be easy. And I think the more you complain and the more you cry and the more you make an excuse, the shittier life is going to be.
Yep.
Like, you have to be mentally resilient. If somebody yells at you, like, are you going to pout? Yeah. Like, that's what's going to ruin the rest of your day. Yep. So whenever you go to work and somebody yells at you, now you're going to pout, so you're going to get fired. Now you're going to go to another job and be like, well, I got fired from my job because my boss told me that I was doing something wrong. Like, okay, now you can't follow directions.
Yeah. It's simple, right? Like, learn to adapt. Learn to adapt to your environment, you know, like, learn to have a different perspective.
Yeah.
You know, like, just learn to adopt a different perspective and adapt to your environment. You know, like, shit's gonna come your way, right? To live is to suffer, and suffer is to live, right? Shit's gonna come your way. Just approach it a different way that you haven't before, and see what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And also judgment. Like, you gotta have right judgment too. Like, with saying this, like, I also don't want to bring any kind of like negative connotations of like,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is go out there and just yell at everybody and
Mhm.
cuss everybody out and don't care about anybody's feelings. Like, you have to be able to assess the situation.
Right.
Like, assessing the situation is the most important thing you could do. If a woman's crying, you don't go over there and tell her to shut up and stop crying.
Right.
Like, that's when you go and you be your emotional support. Like, you need to learn how. I think that's a really good point. Is like, you need to learn how to use your emotions, how to control your emotions. Exactly.
That's a strong man.
Yeah.
To me, that's a strong man.
I agree.
Someone who has control over their fucking emotions.
For sure.
You can't be all over the place, right? You need to know, man, I say this all the time. You know when to show your emotions to whom, right? Because a lot of people like see you as a man, and then you show a little bit of emotion. Oh, this guy's a pussy. This guy's soft.
Yep.
Right. So that's why I say, like, not everybody deserves to see you like that, in emotional state as a man. Right? If you have a wife, show emotion. That's your wife. You know, that's your life partner. If you're close with your mother, you're close with a father, or maybe like a brother or a sister, show your emotions to them. You know, like they share your blood. You know, like if your relationship's close. And I know, like, there's some people that don't have very good relationship with their sister or their brother, or maybe even a cousin. Like, okay, then maybe you shouldn't show emotion to that person. You know, but that's why I say, like, I completely agree. A strong man is someone who can control their emotions, you know, like when and how to, I guess, display them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that goes back to, like, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, just because you reacted wrong doesn't mean you're the worst person in the world. It's like, you just, that's part of learning. Like, you got to be able to learn that you acted the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you know the next situation, how to act a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like, and even then, like, you can react one way negatively, and the next time, it's as long as you can react a little bit less negatively, that's like, you know, a little bit of progression, a little bit of growth.
Right.
Like, that's all it takes.
I like that. Yeah. I want to leave, like, the audience, right? The young men or anybody watching, when it comes to shit like that. It's like when you walk through the fire, I think I told you this before too.
Yeah.
When you walk through the fire, you either turn into dust or you become the flame. Right? And that's like, it's all perspective. That's all it is, right? If you're going through something shitty in life, you either cry and pout and ask yourself, like, oh man, like, my life fucking sucks. Or you look at it a different way, like, you know, fuck it, this is a challenge. This also will pass. I will learn from this, right? And I'll maybe even learn how to not be in this situation or this predicament again. So I fucking love that quote. And then the other thing that we were mentioning too, I remember we were talking about it, me and you, was like, and honestly, just like now that you're mentioning it, it's kind of like making me think, if you, as like a young teenager, you're growing up, the things you avoid as a young teenager, you have to pay for as an adult. And the things that you avoid as an adult,
good point. Yeah.
And the things that you avoid as an adult, your children will pay for.
Yeah.
When they're younger.
That's a quote you read?
No, I'm dropping.
That's
right
knowledge. Y'all gotta listen to that.
Yeah, I'm dropping it right now because you're making me think. You know, like,
that's solid.
It's true, bro.
That's
like,
facts.
As a young teenager, the things you avoid, you'll pay as an adult, and then fucking the things that you avoid as an adult, your children will pay for.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I think that, like, especially if you look at our generation right now, like
Right.
like our age between 20 and 25,
Mm-hmm.
if you're out partying every single day, how are you setting your future up for your kids?
Yeah.
It's no, like, I think a lot of people think so much about themselves because they don't ever plan for the future. I think obviously you want to have, you know, you don't want to have this 9 to 5 staring at a wall job, but at the end of the day, it's like you have to work at some point to have a better life.
Right.
And if nobody's there to tell you that you need to work to have a better life, you're not going to. You're going to be partying. You're going to be doing all these things. So by the time you're 30 years old, you have a kid, and now you don't have education.
Right.
You don't have a job. Your kid can't get a good education because you never got one.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's definitely, that's a good
Yeah.
point. That's that hard choice I'm talking about. Like, when you're 18, 17, 18 years old, that wasn't an easy choice. How scared were you?
It's fucking scary.
That was a scary choice. Like, it was a light. You understood that moment that you got. I would say the second you got on the plane to fly out there, that was the moment where it was like, my life just changed.
Yeah, it's just real.
Yeah, my life just changed.
It felt weird. It was a weird feeling. Like, when I was on the bus and I was leaving, but because honestly, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I was like, I know I wanted to join the military. I know I wanted to make a change. I wanted to make my life's, like, purpose a little more intentful by doing shit that a lot of people don't do, you know. But I remember being on the bus and, like, I was like, I think at the time, 2016, fucking Chance the Rapper dropped an album. What's it called? Coloring Book, I think. And I remember I was listening to, like, it was like Juke Jam, which is like Justin Bieber, and then it was like, You know, it was like a slow song, and so I'm like thinking about my life, and I'm like, yo, did I just fuck up?
It sounded like serious.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, I agree. Like I was scared, and when I deployed, I was 18. I was turning 19. Actually, no, I turned 19. Turned 19 on deployment. Yeah, and I was scared as fuck. Like I promise, like when I was we're getting on the plane, and throughout all the movement and stuff, getting ready to leave, I remember all I could think about in my head was like, dude, I'm gonna die, man. Like I'm gonna fucking die. Like, yeah, like you know, like when you're talking to yourself, and you're like, and then you know, like little Angel was like, chill, bro, you're good. And Doug was like, nah, bro, you're gonna fucking die. You get blown up.
Yeah.
And at one point, I was like, man, you know what? Like, God, whatever plans you have for me, you have for me. If it's not my time, then please, like, don't take me. You know, like
for sure.
But yeah, like it. When you put yourself in certain positions as like a young person, where you can grow, you will grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then like you said, also, it still comes down to perspective. Because I could have been through all that and still came out like a dumbass. You know, but I chose to learn from shit like that, and I chose to grow. You know, I chose to adopt all of that shit, take from it and learn from it, and then just like grow as a person. You know. So,
yeah, a good point that you made is like that feeling of change.
Yeah.
Like I think that's another good topic to talk about is change. Like I think people are actually scared of change.
Yeah.
Like you're so comfortable, you're living such a comfortable life that why would I go out of my way? Like I actually just watched this video. There's 3 types of like ways that you react. If it's bad, but it's not bad enough, you stay in the same situation. If it's good, but it's not good enough, you stay in the same situation. But it takes a certain level of bad for you to move. Yeah. And those 2 opposite ones are like the worst because you stay comfortable. So you can stay comfortably in this middle bad ground. Like it's not that difficult, but it's difficult, like whatever. Yeah. So you'll end up staying in that for your whole life.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of like, yeah, it's like middle good. It's kind of like, like I'm affording my bills, but you know, I'm not getting anywhere else. So it doesn't provide any kind of depth that you need to change.
Right.
It only changes when it gets super hard. And I think you have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to change, whether it's easy, whether it's bad or nothing. Like, you know, you have to be able to be like, this is a scary feeling.
Yeah.
That feeling is a good feeling after a certain time. How many times now I promise you search for that feeling.
Yeah.
It's like that feeling is a good feeling. You know, like you're about to change. Like something's about to change because it's just that there. And even if it's a change and you fail at that change, you learn from that failure. Like
it's that feeling of becoming the fucking flame. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like your life is igniting to be something else.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I like that. That's true. Yeah, because that's how it felt for me. Like a bunch of times. You know, like a bunch of times in different times in my life. Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. See, we teed off, but I hope we drop something good for like the audience to pick up. I hope you guys really resonate with some of the things that me and Hayden dropped today. And before we close it out, I know we went around and around, but for our audience, for them to get to know us a little bit better, what is your idea of success? Like, what does Hayden's success life looks like?
Yeah.
Well, we just did a 180 right here, but yeah.
No, it's good. So I have 2 ideas of success. Like I think I have my idea of success out of what I truly want out of life and how I view myself as a man. And that would be, you know, protecting, providing, being accountable, being responsible, everything I possibly could do to better my life, my kids' life, my wife's life, and my family's life. If I could get to the point to where I could completely pay for everybody in my entire life, like happiness and ability to do what they want to do, like that's my goal. Yeah. Like I want to be able to provide. I want I want to learn too. So that's my level of success. Like success is whenever I die, I know that I left my family capable of doing what they want to do.
Right.
Living a happy life, setting them on the right path, and providing for them, like all those things, right? But that's my genuine definition of like success of what I want for myself. Now, if we're talking about how would I view myself successfully in this world when it comes to like an image, oh man, I want it all.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely, I just watched this video of somebody saying like, you know, when people ask how rich do you want to be,
Yeah.
they give such a lazy answer of how rich you want to be. Like, I would say I want at least $1 million. And when I mean $1 million, I want everything that I want in my life to be paid off, and I have $1 million to play with at all times.
Right.
And then I have, now this is my lazy answer of saying I want X amount of money to still, you know, run my businesses, run companies, invest, do whatever I need to do with that money. And I you know, we're still in that process of figuring it out as well. Like, I don't want y'all to think that we have the answers, we have it figured out. We're just telling you like our ideas and trying to make it aware to y'all that like you got to start asking these questions yourself.
Yeah.
And you know, so I want that $1 million accessible at all times. I want my Lamborghini Huracan. That's like, if I could pick the exact one, it'd be the STO. Like, that one's my oh dude, I love that car. Then we could get into crazy cars, but
just Lamborghini.
Just basic Lamborghini. No, it's easy. Like, I know. I promise you, everyone watching, I promise you, like, I'll have one one day. Like, I genuinely mean it.
I believe you, bro.
And I don't necessarily care about a style of house or however the house is. Like, you know, I think that I leave the house to my wife. I think like that's her.
Yeah.
That's her perspective. I guess that mine would be to provide that house for her that she wants. And dude, I think about this so much. I literally had a dream where I pulled up in my Lamborghini and I had a little boy running across the yard in like this nice green grass, and it was like this beautiful house, and I had a pool in the backyard. My wife was right there, and like, dude, it was like one of the best dreams I ever had. And it's like, that's my vision of success.
Yeah. That's beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me cry, dog. You know what's crazy, bro? As I hear you speak and share that with me, it doesn't sound crazy to me, right? Yeah. Not because you're my friend, not because like, you know, I like to think that we're close, but because I think it's very achievable for you. You know what I mean? It's very achievable. I think like with your mindset, with how where you are, you will accomplish those things.
I appreciate that. I truly do.
If there's young men that are lost, or maybe even people our age, if they can just adopt a similar mentality, if they can see things like you are right now, any goal that may sound too far-fetched or too unrealistic, it'll be fucking realistic.
So I want to hear your topic, like your
like my idea of success.
Yeah. And then I'll get, because I want to reiterate what you said just right there about you know, telling people things, but I want to hear what yours is.
Man, I don't know. See, like, I truly believe that I don't have like, I will never top out. You know, I always want more. It's like in my military career, I always wanted more. Out of life, I always want more. You know, like out of my relationship, I want more. Out of like for my family, I always want more. I don't have the idea of just like, I want this and that's it. I'm not saying that you do either. I'm just saying for myself, like I don't want to get to some place. I would like to have certain things by a certain time frame, right? I think some of those may be realistic, some of those may be unrealistic. Like for say, like, you know, like I have a home now, it's beautiful, but I want a bigger house, you know, and when I get that bigger house, I think I want a bigger house. You know what I mean?
100%.
You know, like I want a Corvette. You know, like either Z06, or I'll be fine with the 200T. Cool, you know, like which I'm gonna get, bro. But I think when I get that, I'm gonna want another one. Maybe even a 911 GT3S or something, you know, like RS. But truthfully, like, and that's for myself. For everybody around me, my idea of success, I just want to make sure that the things I did not have as a child, my kids have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way my mother wasn't treated when she was a wife, because she's a good woman. I want my wife to like get all that treatment, you know. And I will say this, right? And keeping it honest, my mother tells me all the time. She's like, you resemble your father the most, and that's scary to hear. Right? Because I'm like, damn, is that like in a bad way or a good way, you know? And she's like, above all, like your father was always like a very charismatic man. He was always like romantic, but he was an asshole, you know. He used to beat her, he used to cheat, he's an alcoholic. He's kind of like he's crazy, you know. But I'm crazy in the good ways, right? I'm romantic in the good ways.
Hey, yo, so, Stephanie, you alright?
Blink twice if you know. So I always like, you know, like I always catch myself sometimes too. I'll catch myself slipping, like maybe like, man, like maybe I picked this shit up from my dad. I don't want to do that, you know. So my idea of success is my wife also lives a happy life, you know. Like my mother also lives a happy life because of the decisions I make, you know, for the people that will eventually get affected around me. But yeah, that's my idea of success, like for internal and then
Yeah,
external.
for sure.
You know.
So I love the idea of everything that you said. You know, it definitely, and I think that's what when you get older, you realize it's no longer about yourself.
Right.
It's about the people you're with.
That's true.
Because if you have $1 million and you have nobody to spend it with, you're gonna be one bored motherfucker. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be boring. You're gonna have fake friends. You're not gonna be able to live this enjoyable life. So I think when you just get older, you realize that people are more important than money.
Yeah.
Right. But the one thing I wanted to say, what you were saying of, you know, achievable dreams that don't sound achievable. First off, I want to tell you all a story, very quick, very small. That we can end this. When I was in high school, we had this science teacher, and he hated me, like absolutely hated me. I mean, I was a bad kid. Like I don't blame him. You know.
You name drop him? No, it's good.
I don't know his name. It was the science teacher with the white beard, like kind of like the short fat guy.
Damn, I don't know.
It's funny that he's fat because you know what I mean.
Look at me now.
Yeah, and I remember this one time I was being ignorant in class, and he comes up to me, he takes me outside. It wasn't even my teacher; it was like the next door neighbor's teacher. He comes up and brings me outside. He's like, you know, you're not gonna amount to nothing when you get older. Like, you're not gonna be able to do whatever it is that you think that you can do. Like talking shit to me, like saying that, like I told him I was gonna drive a Lamborghini. He's like, you'll never have a Lamborghini. He's like, you won't even be able to get in one, like that kind of thing. And bro, I've had so many teachers like tell me like that. Like that's how bad of a kid I was, and I can't tell you how much drive that has been produced in me. Like, and that goes from, like, you know, anywhere between teachers to my own family that tell me I can't do that.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point that when I tell people what my goals are, I can't tell them genuinely what my goals are.
Right.
Because the key is set your goals so high you're afraid to tell small-minded people. Mm-hmm. Right? You ever heard that saying before?
I have. I've also heard, like, when you tell a small-minded person or a lazy person these big, great ideas, you'll sound crazy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly. It's very true. So don't ever let these people discourage you whenever you say that you want these things. It doesn't matter where you come at in life, whether you're coming from an orphanage or you're coming from a silver spoon-fed house. Like, you are able to achieve anything you set your mind to. Like, I think that would be my message.
I like that. I'm gonna cherry pick off you, only because this is something that me and you spoke about before too, and I want to share it with the audience. Right? It's like when I told you, people will cheer you on. They will root for you when you tell them your goals. Right? They'll do like the fake. Oh, you got it, right? And then when you make it, they're like, oh damn, he made it. You know? Like, and then they're a little different. They're a little different
for sure.
I mean? Because when you first tell them you're sharing your dream, and it may also be a dream that they have in common, right? So in their head, like, whatever, it's just a dream, you know. It's just shit people say. People say, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a billionaire. I'm gonna have to drive a Lamborghini. Oh yeah, sure, Hayden, you got it. Yeah, whatever. And then they see you in a Lamborghini, and then all of a sudden, like, oh shit, right? And the only reason they hate, and it sucks it has to be this way, it's because you remind them of the dreams that they could not achieve themselves. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so they're salty. They're a little salty. Yeah. There are some genuine people that'll be happy for you. You know what I mean? But you can never expect those people. And me and my good friend had this conversation. You can never have, even those good, even like me, right? When you buy your Lamborghini, when you get your Lamborghini, I won't share the exact same happiness that you are, because that's your Lamborghini. I will be fucking happy for you. Yeah. But I won't be as ecstatic because it's not in my driveway. You know, the title's not under my name. But totally. There's no animosity towards it. Right, no animosity. Exactly. There's a lot of people that have animosity towards others' success. Right. And I think, like, we can cover that on another podcast about how you should be supporting your friends and how you should be. Because, I mean, I think if you're a jealous man, an envious man, like, you need to reprogram yourself. You need a little help with that. We'll help you with that. Don't worry. Can't be wired like that. Yeah. Guys, iron sharpens iron. If you don't have a friend that's telling you you're fucking up, if you don't have a friend that's trying to, you know, make you level up, be better, do better, right? If they're not reading you and telling you, like, hey, you're doing shit wrong or doing things the wrong way, then you need to find better fucking friends. Because I tell Hayden all the time. He goes to the gym all the time, but I'm like, yo, you still look small, though. I'm fucking small, little guy. I'm a little guy. Hey, look at me. I look like a fat bitch or whatever, bro. But no, I love that point that you brought up. It's completely true. I agree. But anyhow, you know, I think we're good to close it off and wrap it off.
Yeah.
I hope that you guys were able to get some real valuable stuff out of this. There's so many more episodes coming.
Yeah, I think we got more episodes, more topics that we're going to talk about. And then more directly to y'all, this one was more of a kind of get to know us, but also see what our mindset is and see our opinions on a lot of things. But also just bring more content. I think we're going to do we're going to try every week.
Yeah, we're going to try to deliver an episode every week. Unless you guys want it differently. Drop in the comments, like if you want another episode next week, we'll make it happen.
Also, like what your ideas, maybe y'all have some topics that we don't have that we would like to go over. See what y'all's insights are. Maybe give us some feedback, like audio good,
video good, lighting, whatever. Drop it. You won't hurt our feelings, I promise.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, guys, it's not an excuse, right? I spoke about it with Hayden before. It's not an excuse. We're both full-time husbands. We both go to school full-time. We're both working. But we still found time. We're trying to make time. We're not trying to make any excuses. We found time to build and spend time, work here in the vault to deliver some good content, some good experiences, some good just advice for you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, like we said, we'll try to deliver an episode weekly, unless if you guys want. Otherwise, it'll probably be like bi-weekly or something like that, or at our best convenience.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
I would say last thing is liking, subscribing, and sharing. I understand that our expectations is 5 viewers.
Yeah,
that's me, that's him, my wife, his wife, and at least one of our friends. At least one of our friends has to watch this video. But the likes mean a lot more than y'all think. The shares mean a lot more than y'all think, and the subscribes mean a lot more than y'all think. I mean, it just shows y'all support, and it's not about numbers.
Yeah.
But it's about getting the message out to the younger people that we're trying to target.
Right, because that's the goal. We want to leave marks. We want to leave logos.
Yeah, facts. I like that.
So appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Welcome to the vault. Peace out.